Hello guys, this is Classy. For those of you who are interested in Korea for whatever reason, I want to talk about something big happening in Korea today. President Yoon has been arrested, finally, after being impeached. On January 15th, 2025, today, law enforcement arrested Yoon but before being taken to the 공수처 Corruption Investigation Office, he made a video. He recorded a video. Right here, and said that the rule of law has completely collapsed in this nation, but agreed to go peacefully to avoid any conflicts. Law enforcement had already tried once to arrest him earlier this month, but failed. This time, hundreds of officers entered his residence without much resistance from his security team. But both supporters and critics gathered near home. His supporters and followers holding signs saying like "Stop the steal" or "We will fight to the end" for President Yoon Suk-yeol. But police were there in large numbers to keep things under control, so that's good. Now let's talk about this video recording because it's kind of interesting. I will translate his speech or address. So this is what he said: "Dear fellow citizens, how have you been? To tell you the truth, not that good. Since the martial law declaration. I sincerely thank you for your support and encouragement. Unfortunately, the rule of law in this country has completely collapsed. Warrants are being issued to agencies without investigative authority, and courts lacking warrant review authority are granting arrest and search warrants. Seeing investigative bodies issue false official documents to deceive the public and forcibly proceed with procedures based on invalid warrants is truly deplorable. Even though I am facing such unfair treatment, I sincerely hope that no citizen will ever have to endure such injustice in future criminal cases. Today, I witnessed them forcibly breaking into the presidential security zone using firefighting equipment. To prevent an unfortunate and violent incident, I have decided to comply with the CIO summons, even though the investigation is unlawful. But this does not mean I acknowledge the legitimacy of the CIO's investigation. As a president entrusted with defending the Constitution and the legal system of the Republic of Korea, my compliance with this illegal and invalid process is solely to prevent any unfortunate bloodshed, he said, not to recognize its validity. Seeing how especially our youth have come to deeply appreciate the value of liberal democracy and express their passion for it, I am convinced that although the law has crumbled and we face dark times, the future of our nation is still bright and full of hope. Dear citizens, please stay healthy and strong. Thank you." So that's what he said. Seems like his statements reflects a narrative that frames himself as a victim. Right? Victim of unlawful prosecution. But his remark raised several concerns when viewed through the lens of constitutional law and democratic principles. So he claims that the law in this country has collapsed, criticizing the judiciary and investigative bodies for issuing and enforcing warrants. But in a democratic system, legal institutions operate independently, and no one, including the president, is above the law. And questioning the legitimacy of lawful procedures without evidence can erode public trust in the legal system and threaten the rule of law. But maybe that's exactly what he wants, And Yoon states that he's complying with the investigation to prevent a bloody incident, yet simultaneously denies the legitimacy of the process. This frames him as both cooperative and defiant, potentially as a political strategy to maintain support while avoiding legal accountability. And now, by emphasizing that he's enjoying quote-unquote unfair treatment for the sake of people, Yoon diverts attention from the serious allegations against him. Like positioning himself as a defender of democracy while being investigated for actions that allegedly undermine democratic process is deeply contradictory. And again, here he's subtly trying to rally support from his followers, especially among younger citizens, by invoking themes of freedom and democracy. But this rhetoric could deepen political divides and incite unrest, especially if his supporters interpreted his words as a call to resist lawful authority. So, I'm not sure if you remember this, but why was Yoon impeached in the first place? Back on December 3rd, let's review. Back on December 3rd, he randomly, in the middle of the night, declared martial law and deployed troops around the National Assembly. It didn't last long, but it was unconstitutional enough for the opposition and citizens to act. And on December 14th, they impeached him, accusing him of rebellion. Now, to be fair, the South Korean Constitution, Article 77, does allow the president to declare martial law if needed, but it's not a power they can use however they want. It has to follow strict legal procedures and be checked by the National Assembly. In fact, reports suggest that Yoon not only declared martial law, but also planned to arrest opposition politicians to stop them from revoking it. And this is deeply unconstitutional because the South Korean Constitution gives the National Assembly the power to check and overturn martial law if it's misused. So by targeting lawmakers, Yoon was effectively trying to silence the very branch of government designed to hold him accountable. And martial law isn't something to take lightly. It suspends people's basic freedoms and rights. And using it without a valid reason or skipping proper legal channels threatens Korea's democracy. It's not just about following rules, it's about protecting the democratic values the country is built on. And since then, Yoon's presidential powers have been suspended, and now the Constitutional Court, 헌법재판소 or 헌재, is deciding whether to remove him from office or reinstate him. Yoon skipped the first hearing, but the next one is coming up, and the trial will go on, with or without him. And right now, Yoon's at the Corruption Investigation Office in Gwacheon, CIO. And according to the latest updates, he's refusing to testify during his investigation, declining to answer questions or submit any official statements. Unlike former presidents who typically met briefly with investigators before questioning, he skipped his meeting and also refused to allow the session to be video recorded. After a morning session from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., he took a break for lunch, though it's unclear if he ate, according to this article, before resuming the afternoon session at 2:40 p.m. And looks like his refusal to cooperate appears to be a strategic move to challenge the investigation's legitimacy and potentially rally support by portraying himself as a victim of political persecution. So that's it. It's a developing story. I will provide updates accordingly if needed and if I want to. Let me know what you guys think about this by leaving comments. I don't know, from the perspectives of non-Koreans looking at this issue from outside in. All right? See you guys next time. Peace and love. Whoop! Classy.